Greetings. We meet at a significant turning point mid-March 2024, both as we enter our solar season of Aries and as we enter our forthcoming season of eclipses. So first and foremost, if you ever hear from a 13-sign bozo or a so-called scientist saying, hey, the constellations have changed, the zodiac is all wrong, just remind them that the zodiac is actually the ecliptic. It is the sine wave traced over the earth by the sun due to Earth's tilt and rotation around the sun each year. So solar season of Aries begins at the exact moment that the sun's incoming rays is aligned with the Earth's equator. Northern hemisphere now entering into the season of spring. Now, astrology, what it is, what it means in this day and age could be anything. So I am always very intentional at the start of these videos to explain why I am putting this information out. This is because to know what the zodiac is to know nature as it is. Not designed by me or you, not thought up by any human. Astrology is not man-made. It is the seasons and cycles of life as it is, which has been uncovered and discovered by human beings cross-culturally since the beginning of time. When you really get deep into understanding the zodiac and the planets, you can therefore understand our current age, society, and culture, why it is in the circumstance that it's in, as well as understanding the particular biases that our world and culture has towards particular zodiac signs. We get an understanding of nature and its rawness and its realness, and then we get the whole of human, societal, cultural, inherited conditioning. So a huge part of this work is not merely entertainment. This is medicine to be helpful, to provide the remedies to undo such unnatural man-made conditioning and return to nature as it is. That being said, I must admit I have had some frustration in preparing for this particular lunar eclipse video, and that's because I have some awareness of the astrological community. I have counseled thousands of clients. I have done astrology consistently daily for over 10 years. That is why I'm able to assess other astrologers a little bit. I can assess if another astrologer has really learned, has really gone for an education, and what I do assess is that most, maybe even 50% of the astrological community of what you see out there on YouTube is pretty light, superficial surface astrology. And that provides some problems because I already know going into a particular time what the biases are going to be from the current culture, spiritual background, how that's going to be projected by novice astrologers to talk about certain times. And it challenges me not to go too polar opposite and to say all of the things that I know isn't going to be covered by other astrologers. The real challenge of doing astrology is this is complex. It's not just like there's two hands on a clock. We have many cycles upon cycles. So what to focus on? What are the highlighted parts? What are the heavyweight parts? Is the real work of providing useful astrology, as well as, of course, suggestions, remedies, resolutions for the times, challenges, and circumstances we may find ourselves in at this time. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to feel a need to speak for the shadow of Libra, which I feel is very unspoken, as well as the shadow of Pisces, because there is a cultural, especially spiritual, you could say New Age bias towards particular signs. Sagittarius, top of the list. Jupiter's the best. Pisces, top of the list. We think that Pisces and Neptune's all light and fluffy for some reason. That's confusion. And we also really love to put Libra up there. Love, harmony, balance, sharing, caring. And I just know that so many astrologers out there, this Libra lunar eclipse is going to be full of such happy trigger words. Love, harmony, sharing, relationship, creativity. And all of this is true. This Libra eclipse can really bring a resurfacing of connection, collaboration. What do we love? How do we create a structure for what we love? Who do we love? How are we sharing with those that we love? But what I'm also going to be injecting here is this brings up some major questions around what love even is, and what relationship even is. And what are the ideals versus the reality? Because this is a south nodal lunar eclipse in Libra. This brings up memories. We're reflecting on our past partnerships, new relationships that may be beginning at this time, may be past life partnerships. Those past life partnerships may be important to resurface for evolutionary purposes. There's things to tie up, there's things to evolve through together. So there's this theme of togetherness, who, how, and why. And is it real? Is it true? Or is it deceptive? Is it misleading? One of the themes we're going to look at is this lunar eclipse in Libra is highlighting the pathology of codependency. And this is one of those areas where our whole world is genuinely confused. Just like how the whole world thinks it knows what love is, as if the Walt Disney movies we watched as a child prepared us for real life, real love, and real relationships. So what we can actually be looking at with this south nodal lunar eclipse is love addiction, and what keeps us going back to the same person or the same types of dynamics. Now, this doesn't all have to be bad. This isn't all just like relationships are breaking up, but there's a lot that's going to be getting worked through relationships, healing through the mirror of the other, discrepancy, disagreement. We are not identical. And is this a problem? Hell no, it's not a problem. You know what is a problem? What I commonly see as so-called love by these really superficial souls that think that they're role models, where their codependency of one person exists and the other person completely submits or sacrifices, and so they seem very cohesive. They seem always together. Is that real love? Is that really healthy? Is that really mutually supportive? And have we noticed how, where, or why we get drawn back to particular types of people? And are they really loving? Are they really supportive? It's like we're looking at this theme of love addiction, who and why, and this can lead us into the very depths of our own makeup, our own psychology. I'll use myself as an example. I've got a 12th house Venus, Neptune in the 7th house, and there's been enormous sacrifices in my relationship so far in this life. I have always believed that's what love is. And I've had to look at myself in the mirror and realize I'm actually attracted to the damsel in distress. I'm actually attracted to a certain type of brokenness because I come in with my quote-unquote savior complex. I want to be the knight in shining armor. This is really, really common stuff. And it's common stuff no matter what gender you are. We're looking at gender bias. We're looking at gender conditioning, which is going to be different for each and every one of us because there are stigmas and stereotypes that are true, depending on the world and culture we're born into and we come from, but also there's the case-by-case circumstance that's completely different and unique, like how in my prior new moon video I used the example of Asheville being a very unique place where the cases are not normally how they are to be found in the rest of this world. And by the way, I want to humbly thank all those who showed support in my last video. It is extremely supportive and meaningful. Those of you who showed support, whether monetarily by clicking the 3 dots and clicking the thanks. Again, I don't run YouTube ads. That's why I don't get paid by YouTube. But I received a lot of hate from that last video as well. And that's because I'm pointing the finger to what I know other astrologers aren't going to want to. Because talking about the truth, which is what an astrologer is supposed to do, and doing so tactfully, which is very challenging, is not what pays. Saying something that's fluffy, nice, and makes people feel good and hopeful, which can be very deceiving and misleading in itself. Hopefulness is not what I'm going for. Hopefulness is not what prepares us for the future. Hopefulness can fuck us up, right? So not going for hopefulness. I know that's what a lot of people want to tune into, listen to. It's almost like an ASMR, not really listening to what's being said, not really learning anything, no knowledge about life, our situation, our soul, our experience, and so many so-called astrologers aren't ever going to get to there because their intention isn't actually to get to truth. Their intention isn't actually to help themselves or another person. A huge, huge percentage of the New Age carries the intention of avoidance, escapism, and running away from reality. There's been pseudo-religions, there's been cults, there's online communities and clubs. There's so many ways to escape and avoid even using astrology, which is supposed to be psychological, which is supposed to be true. But boy, astrology can just become the opposite of what it's meant to be. So that's the other major intent in me creating these videos is let's discern, decipher, and fragment the whole problematic New Age movement so we can separate the people, cults that I'm saying are harmful through their enabling of delusion, through their enabling of pretend or escapism or talking about things that are so distant and disconnected from this world it only leads you away. That is harmful. My effort in these videos is to use astrology for harm reduction. This lunar eclipse in Libra is ruled by Venus in Pisces. Joined Saturn in Pisces. This is some of the deeper theme. We are being challenged to look at how much have I been deceiving myself? So, simple astrology, topical, is very different than complex astrology where there's cycles upon cycles upon cycles, which is more difficult to communicate because life is complex. So how am I going to hand off to thousands of people something that's going to be universally shared about all of us when life's actually more complex than, hey, it's Aries season, everything's Aries now until Taurus season, because that's ain't how it is. Aries season isn't really going to kick off until Mars enters Aries at the end of April. Mars goes into Pisces on the 22nd of March. So there's always in between periods. I'll really kick off Aries when we talk about our forthcoming Aries solar eclipse at the start of April. We got some loose ends to tie up before we get into high Aries. We're not in high Aries yet. We're not quite in the warrior, initiator, gladiator, confidence to initiate our own independent path. That's going to continue to be on the menu as the evolutionary homework. Don't lose your soul. Need to maintain healthy freedom and autonomy even within our most intimate relationships. Theme of the day. But right now, there's also a lot to do with deception, delusion, sacrifice. Like I was saying, why am I attracted to the damsel in distress? Well, it reflects my own childhood wounding of a lack of support. I have honestly, and very few people can validate my life the way I spend all day validating others' lives. Very few people can do the same to me. But for those who actually can read a birth chart, which is very few people, you can very easily see the overwhelming lack of support that's been my life. So a natural gravitation is to go towards those who are needing support. And then I get tied into being the infinite giver, the infinite supporter, the mom and the dad. And it turns into a theme of sacrifice within relationships. Again, my Venus is in the 12th, Neptune's in the 7th. That's all I've known so far. Heck, I'm used to partners in past lives not even being there because they died tragically, this, that, the other thing. It's a great position for creativity. It's a bit of a bleeding heart artist signature. Point being, we can all be experiencing some of these themes these days, can we not? The Sun joined Neptune a few days ago on the 17th. Asteroid Vesta squares Neptune tomorrow on the 21st. This brings up this theme of what is actual goodness? What's actually morally right? Is it always good to be acting in this way? And this is what I really want to highlight here, the shadiness of Libra, the shadow of Libra that's certainly going to come up for us all collectively with this South Nodal Libra eclipse. Reflecting on past relationships, why the heck did we relate that way? Do we want to keep relating that way or do we want to change it? We probably want to change it right now. We need to include ourselves. Freedom needs a lot of experimentation with gender and sexuality going on right now. Role play, change it up. Perfect eclipses to do these experimentations and change the game. The healing journey is we all have to be in our own lane. We all have to go it on our own. There's a bit of a desert wander initiation that's involved. That is the actual exposure therapy part of coming back online. There's a phantom limb that all of us are getting back online. It's uncomfortable when you've been on the airplane and your foot fell asleep for 5 hours. You lost all circulation. You got to bring that foot back online. That's what we're doing psychically, soul-wise. Why do we have this love? Is this really love? Is this really supportive? I mean, the shadow of Libra is politeness. Politeness. You know what I hate? Politeness. Because politeness to me is fake goodness. It's not real goodness. Politeness is a societal construct. Politeness is I stick my pinky out when I'm drinking my drink because that's what you're supposed to do. I put my, I say please and thank you because that's what you're supposed to do. Does that necessarily help anybody? No, not necessarily. If you go into psychology, these things get blown clear out of the water. We're crawling out of the Victorian era stupid age of politeness. So no, being polite is not always good. Let's think about your best friends who are in a miserable, abusive, codependent relationship where one friend exists and the other friend is like a tyrant who's completely swallowing the other person. But what do? Just always give them a round of applause because they're in a loving, committed relationship? What if they have kids? Is it the nice thing, right? Is being nice good? Or might the good thing to do is tactfully communicate and point out the abuse, what's not working, where there's pain and suffering as well, because we don't want to just be purely critical. We want to provide constructive suggestions. Hey, have you ever thought about, not literally being 2 inches from one another every single day of the year, and you are afraid of losing one another? Maybe you should take a 5-minute walk around the neighborhood separate and just see what that feels like and come back together and check to see if you're both alive. Did you do it? Is it okay? And what about these superficial relationships where I see these people, oh yeah, we broke up 7 times and got back together 7 times because we're so loving and we're so forgiving. And it's like, yeah, y'all are just using the shit out of each other. And you can't actually say what it is that you need. You can't actually say what it is that you're doing. So you're just deceiving each other in this bullshit love. It's not love. What's this love that I need to be open in order to have sex with every single other person on the planet because I cannot commit to you? Is that love? Is that caring? If you can't commit to somebody, you need to love yourself by communicating that before you string along some person you're going to put on a back burner, abuse, and shove under. These gender stigmas, there is no black and white. There is no men is this way, women is this way, trans in between is this way. There is no line in the sand. Every relationship is unique. You get to define that relationship. You get to create that relationship. And this month into April, we are rewriting the script. There needs to be a new moral code. There needs to be a new contract. That's what's up with this lunar South Nodal eclipse. We're reflecting on how we've done relationship, how we've done love and sacrifice. Is it real? Or were we just being a good girl or a good boy by going to church every single weekend, even though we fucking hate it, but we think that we're getting heaven points every time we go? No, you're not. Stop wasting your time. Stop killing your soul. It's very hard for me not to go into this mood for this particular eclipse because, again, I know what my comrades and fellow astrologers are going to be blasting all over social media about love, romance, and all of the lovely, sparkly things that can also be going on, but it will be going on for evolutionary purposes because we don't go into relationship to put a period at the end of the sentence and prince and princess live happily ever after. That's fucking bullshit. That's not real in any way, shape, or form. You are in a relationship to evolve with that person. If there's no conflict ever coming up with you and your partner, you are in a fake-ass relationship. The conflicts coming up between you and your partner is where the rubber hits the road. That's where we discover where we're individuals, where we're different, where we have conflict points. Good. We need to be individuals. We do not need to be on the exact same page in every single way, shape, or form with our partner, or else we are pathological codependency, which is literally hot. All of these pathological codependent people out there think they're nailing it because one of them killed off their soul and one of them tends to be an abusive narcissist who doesn't even get called out for their abuse because the really nice, caring person is only going to observe, oh, well, they're just in a bad mood. Oh, well, they had a tough childhood. So, I'll just allow myself to get beaten into submission. Okay, so we're evolving out of shallow, superficial love. A lot of Venus stuff is up in March, folks. We'll get into high Aries soon enough. It's going to be a birth of the warrior in the forthcoming months. But these days and weeks, we just saw Venus square Pallas Athena a couple days ago on the 18th, went opposite to Juno on the 19th, and then right at the time of this lunar eclipse, asteroid Pallas Athena squares asteroid Juno. This again brings up this masculine-feminine dichotomy, not just talking about gender, but energetics here. You may prefer the words yin and yang, where Pallas Athena can be this driving, achievement-oriented intelligence, like, yes, we need to accomplish this, yes, we need to check this off, versus our more feminine, empathic, sensitive, how are they feeling? How's my family? How is my children? Is everyone included at the table? There's some tension here. We need our own creative control, and we can't also just completely go off on our own. So we have to find some resolution here, how to join together our achievement, success-oriented pats on the back with a feminine intelligence, with an empathic intelligence. If we can integrate those things together, if we can integrate our own unique brilliance and creativity together with others, now we're starting to get to the gold and the jackpot of this forthcoming eclipse season. And my friends, it's only going to remain to continue to be exciting here through April. Again, we meet March 30th for our next Q&A. Many folks are going to be in the midst of a lot. If I'm going to summarize the forthcoming solar eclipse in Aries, it's like every individual is in a highly unique scramble. We're missing things, we have things that we need, but everybody's scrambling. And so there's this energy of anxiety that's approaching as we enter this forthcoming eclipse season. But folks, it's the rite of passage that's going to birth us into new confidence, new courage, to go our own way, to go to the beat of our own drum in a way that we have not yet even tasted before. So there's some good stuff on the horizon. I'm looking forward to it myself. We'll get more into Mercury retrograde in the next video, but that entire retrograde occurs within Aries. We'll be joined on the moon's north node. So folks, there's some stuff to say. There's some stuff to initiate. We're getting towards direction. We're getting back up on our horse. If we're ever telling ourselves, theme of the day, Chiron and Aries, I can't, I've got a broken leg, or I don't have the energy, that's going to be the crises, that's going to be the initiation, and that's going to be the healing journey that brings us into a brand new level of confidence, power, good health, strong energy, the confidence to be ourselves. Who cares if other people don't get us? We are not here to be understood by everybody. We are not here to be everyone's best friend. There is no better surefire way to sacrifice your soul. Don't waste your time. You also don't always have to be nice, as if that were the same as goodness, betterment, true caring about the improvement and progress of ourself or our fellow human species. Check you later. Good luck.